Hey, Vicky!
What, Tiana?
Why are men's voices louder than women's?
Why?
Because they have an antenna.
So, after school, little Susie is right next to the flagpole, and little Johnny comes up to her and says, Susie, you climb that flagpole, and I'll give you $10. So Susie climbs the flagpole, and she gets her $10. Later, Susie goes home, and she's talking to her mom and says, Mommy, a little boy paid me $10 to climb up a flagpole today. And her mom says, oh, Susie, he was just trying to look at your underwear. So the next day, Susie's waiting by the flagpole, and little Johnny comes up to her and says, Susie, I'll give you $20 to climb up that flagpole. Susie goes, okay. So she climbs the flagpole and gets her $20. Susie then goes home, talks to her mom, and says, Mommy, a little boy paid me $20 to climb up the flagpole. And her mom goes, oh, sweetie, we talked about this. And little Susie goes, yeah, I know, but today I pulled a fast one on him. You see, I didn't wear any underwear.
All right, babe, it's story time.
Hit me.
All right, so a poor man asks a rich man, what are you getting your wife for Christmas? Rich man replies, I'm getting her earrings, diamond earrings, and a Mercedes. Poor man asks, well, why are you getting her two things? Rich man responds, well, if she doesn't like the earrings, she can drive to the store and exchange them. So the poor man nods, and then the rich man asks the poor man, well, what are you getting your wife? And the poor man says, slippers and a dildo. Rich man says, why those two things? Poor man right away says, well, if she doesn't like the slippers, she can go fuck herself.
I love it. Love it.
Hey, Vicky!
Tiana!
You spill your coffee? 3 tampons are sitting at a bus stop. What do they say to each other?
What?
Nothing. They're all stuck up cunts. Happy Tuesday! Hey, Vicky!
What's up?
What's 6.9?
What?
A good thing screwed up from a period.
So little April isn't the best student in Sunday school. In fact, she sleeps through most of her lessons. So one day, her teacher gets fed up with this and asks April a question while she's asleep. The teacher goes, April, who created the universe? And little Johnny, who sits behind her, is trying to save her ass and pokes her with a needle. April shoots up and goes, God almighty! The teacher says, good job. Later in the lesson, April's fallen asleep again, so the teacher does the same thing and goes, April, who is our Lord and Savior? And little Johnny, again, trying to save her ass, pokes her in the back with a needle, and April shoots up and goes, Jesus Christ! And the teacher says, good job, April, good job. So later in the lesson still, April's fallen asleep, yet again. And the teacher asks, April, what did Eve say to Adam after she'd had their 23rd kid? And little Johnny pokes her in the back again. But this time, little April shoots up and goes, if you stab that thing in me one more time, I'm going to break it in half and shove it up your ass. The teacher fainted.
Hey, Vicky!
What?
What's the difference between bird flu and swine flu?
What?
Well, for bird flu, you need tweetment, and for swine flu, you need ointment. She's driving, guys. Hey, Vicky! What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, idiot, breathe! Hey, Vicky! Who can shave 25 times a day and still have a beard? A barber.
Defeated.
Hey, Ryan. After everything I say ketchup and liquor. What'd you have for breakfast?
Ketchup and liquor.
What'd you have for dinner?
Ketchup and liquor.
You see a fat lady running down the road, what do you do?
Ketchup and liquor.
Yeah.
You know what kind of jeans that Mario wears? Denim, denim, denim. Denim, denim, denim. Denim, denim, denim. Denim, denim, denim.
All right, babe, it's story time.
Okay.
All right. So it's your first time. You lay back, muscles tightened. He approaches, asking if you're afraid. You bravely shake your head. He has experience, but it's the first time his fingers hit the right spot. He goes deep, you shiver, and your body tenses. But he's gentle as promised. He tells you to trust him. He's done this before. His cool smile relaxes you, and you open wider to let him in. You begin to plead and beg him to hurry, but he takes his time to ease the pain. As he presses closer, going deeper, you feel the tissue give away. Pain surges through your body as you feel a trickle of blood. He asks if it's too painful. Your eyes are filled with tears, but you nod for him to go on. He begins going in and out, but you're too numb to feel him in you. Then you feel a burst inside you as he pulls it out. You're glad it's over with. He looks, smiles, and says you're the most rewarding experience yet. You smile and thank your dentist. After all, it's the first tooth you ever had pulled.
Oh my god.
Hey, Vicky. What does a nosy pepper do?
What?
Gets jalapeno business. Hey, Ryan. How does Moses make his tea?
He brews it!
He brews it.
So this guy goes to the pet store, and he goes in and he talks to the owner of the pet store, and he goes, look, I'm looking for a new pet, but not just any pet. Honestly, I don't even care what it is. All I want is this pet to be unique, unusual, really cool, basically something that's going to wow my friends when they come over. And the owner says, well, I have a bird by the name of Chet that sings Christmas carols. And the guy's like, oh, that's perfect. Show him to me. Show him to me. So they go over to the cage, and as you know, the owner says, well, this is him. This is Chet, and he sings Christmas carols. Now, the way he does it is a little unusual. You take a match and you light it, and you stick it under Chet's foot. And as long as the match is under his foot and burning, he will sing a Christmas carol. And obviously, if you put it under the other foot, he sings a different Christmas carol. And the guy's like, oh, that is perfect. I mean, the Christmas carols and the match. I mean, my friends are going to love this. He's like, I'll take him. Wrap him up. So he buys the bird, he takes it home, he sets up the cage, and he gets it all set up. And he's like, he's just so excited to try this. It's like he's got the matches out, he lights up a match, and he sticks it under Chet's foot, and Chet starts singing, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, until the match burns out, and he stops singing. And the guy's like, oh, this is so cool, this is so cool. So he lights up another match, and he sticks it under Chet's other foot, and Chet sings, jingle bells, jingle all the way, until the match burns out, and he stops singing. Well, the guy starts thinking, he's like, wait a minute, I got jingle bells, I got white Christmas, what if I put the match between his feet? So he lights up another match, he puts it between Chet's feet, and the bird sings, chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Okay, I want you to say crack my finger.
Crack my finger.
Now say it backwards.
Finger my crack.
Oh!
I am so fat, I went to get my shoes shined. I had to take the guy's word for it.
All right, baby. It's story time.
Hit me.
All right. So a man and a woman meet in an elevator. Guy says, where are you heading today? She says, I'm going to give blood. He says, how much you get paid for giving blood? She says, about $20. He goes, wow, I'm going to donate sperm. Sperm bank pays $100. The woman angrily gets off the elevator. So the next day, they meet again in the elevator. Guy says, fancy meeting you again. Where are you off to? The woman, with her hand over her mouth, says, oh my God!
You did not just do that.
You know what you call American Jedi? Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh no, a whole truck full of Viagra has just been stolen. The cops are on the lookout for a hardened criminal.
Think of how stupid the average person is. Then realize half of them are stupider than that. A dyslexic man walks into a bra. Yes, I said a bra.
All right, babe, it's story time.
Hit me.
All right, so there's a bunch of guys in a locker room, and a random cell phone rings. Is on a bench. There's a guy that picks it up, puts it on speakerphone, and says, hello? Woman on the other line says, hi, honey, it's me. You at the club? Guy says, yes. She says, I'm at the shop, and I found this leather coat for $2,000. Can I get it? Guy goes, yeah, go ahead, buy it. Woman says, I also went to the Lexus dealership and saw one I really liked. Man goes, how much? Woman says, $90,000. He says, get it, but I want all the options. She says, okay, great. One last thing. I found that house we looked at last year, and they're only asking $980,000. Guy goes, you know what? Make an offer for $900,000, and if they don't take it, we'll throw them the extra $80,000. Woman says, I love you so much. Man says, I love you too. Rest of the men are just jaws dropped. He looks at him and he says, anybody know whose cell phone this is?
That's good. I like it.
This guy threw a milk bottle at me today? How dare he? Don't use a broken pencil. It's pointless. Do you know a friend of mine? He rubbed tomato sauce in his eyes today. In hindsight, it wasn't his best idea. I need to see a dentist. One of my canines is getting loose.
Fun fact, women are always right. Don't ever question it. No matter how crazy it is, just say they're right, even if you know they're wrong. Like, even if they say the moon is made of cheese, just be like, yeah, totally, babe, sure. It is.
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a pregnant person and a light bulb? You can unscrew a light bulb.
Hey, babe. It's story time.
Hey.
All right, so a man and a woman are at a bar. They're getting pretty sloppy drunk, and they end up back at her place. So after a night of wild and crazy sex, they wake up in the morning, and the man looks over and notices a picture of another man on her nightstand. So he asks her, hey, is that your husband? She goes, no, silly, of course not. He says, okay, is that your boyfriend? She goes, no, it's not my boyfriend. Okay, well, is that like your brother or a friend? She goes, no, of course not. He goes, okay, well then who is it? She goes, well, that's me before the surgery, of course. And end story. Okay, baby, it is story time.
All right, baby, hit me.
All right, so there once was a farmer whose wife died, and she left him with 3 beautiful teenage daughters. Every weekend, they would go out on dates, and the farmer would stand at the door with his shotgun to let their dates know that he wanted no trouble from them. So the weekend came, and there was a knock at the door. He answered, and a young man said, hi, my name's Joe, and I'm here for Flo. We're going to go to the show. Is she ready to go? The farmer thought he was clever and wished them a good time. Then comes the second knock a few minutes later. The young man says, hi, I'm Eddie. I'm here for Betty. We're going for spaghetti. I hope she's ready. The farmer thought he must know Joe and wished them a good time as well. Then came a third knock. The young man says, hi, I'm Chuck. And the farmer shot him. And end story.
Hey, Josie.
What?
Spell IHOP and say Ness.
IHOP.
Spell it and then say Ness.
IHOP. Ness.
Say it again.
I don't get this one.
Say it again.
IHOP. I ate your penis.
Okay, babe. Story time.
Hit me.
All right. So a woman walks into a pet store and immediately notices a beautiful parrot with a sign that says $50. So she asks, why so cheap? Pet store owner responds, well, I'm going to be honest with you. This particular parrot comes from a house of prostitution and can say some pretty vulgar stuff. She thinks for a sec and decides she's going to take it home. So she takes it, hangs it in her living room, and waits for the bird to talk. Looks around for a second, looks at her, and says, "Rah, new house, new madam." She's taken back for a sec and decides no big deal. Then her teenage daughters walk in the door. The bird looks at them, says, "Rah, new house, new madam, new girls." They're offended for a minute, but they decide, we're just going to laugh it off. Moments later, her husband come home. Bird looks at him and says, "Rah, hey, David."
I like they use David.
All right, babe, it's story time.
Hoorah, hit me.
All right, so a woman wakes up in the middle of the night and notices that her husband's not in bed. So she goes downstairs to find him at the kitchen table with a bottle of whiskey just staring at the wall as he wipes a tear away from his eye. "What's the matter, dear?" she says. He looks up and says, "It's the 20th anniversary of the day we met." She's stunned and starts to tear up. He continues, "Do you remember when we started dating? I was 18 and you were 15? He says solemnly. She's touched by how caring and sensitive he is. She says, "Yes, I do." He pauses as the words aren't coming easily. "Do you remember when your father caught us in the back seat?" She says, "How could I forget?" He continues, "Do you remember him shoving a shotgun in my face and said, 'Either marry her or I will make sure you spend the next 20 years in prison'?" She says, "Yes, I remember that too." He sighs, wiping away more tears. I would have gotten out today.
One more. Okay. What do the pizza guy and the gynecologist have in common?
Oh boy. What?
They can smell it, but they can't eat it.
Okay, joke of the day. So a little boy and a little girl are taking a bath together. Little girl looks over at the little boy, looks down, says, "Can I touch it?" Little boy looks over at her, says, "Hell no. You already broke yours off."
So a woman goes into a tattoo parlor, and she asks the tattoo artist if he would put a turkey on her right thigh right up against her bikini line, and under it put Happy Thanksgiving. So the guy does, and it comes out looking really good, and then she instructs him to put Santa Claus on her left thigh and Merry Christmas underneath that. So he does, and both of them come out looking really good. And then as she's getting dressed and getting ready to leave, the tattoo artist says, "I just have one question." It's like, "Why did you have me put such unusual tattoos on your inner thigh like that?" And she looks at him and says, "Because my husband always complains that there's nothing good to eat between Thanksgiving and Christmas."
Hey, Vicky!
What do you want?
Look at her PJs. Knock, knock.
Sir.
Tank.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was awful.
Okay, babe. Story time. You ready?
Hit me.
All right. So Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and a little girl were on a plane. Well, the plane was having problems, and there were 3 parachutes on the plane. Oprah said, "Well, I'm the richest woman in the world, so I'm getting one." She took the parachute and jumped out of the plane. Trump said, "Well, I'm the president, so I get one." And he jumped off the plane. Obama looked at the little girl and said, "My dear, you are the future, so you take the last parachute and save yourself." The little girl looked at Obama and said, "No, we both get one, because Trump took my book bag."
Good. Nice.
End story. Hey, babe.
Hey, what?
Story time. All right, so a boy asked his father, "Dad, what's the difference between potentially and realistically?" The father thought for a moment and answered, "Go ask your mother if she would sleep with Brad Pitt for $1 million. Then ask your sister and brother if they'd each sleep with Brad Pitt for $1 million. Come back and tell me what you've learned." So the boy asked his mother, "Mom, would you sleep with Brad Pitt for $1 million?" His mother replied, "Of course. We could really use the money to fix up the house and pay for your education." The boy asked his sister the same question, and she answered, oh my God, I love Brad Pitt. I'd sleep with him in a second. The $1 million is just icing on the cake." The boy then asked his brother, who replied, "Of course I would, you dumbass. I could really use the money." The next day, the boy's father asked, "So, did you find out the difference between potentially and realistically?" "Yes, I did," the boy answered. "Potentially, you and I are sitting on $3 million, but realistically, we're living with 2 hookers and a homo."